Today we're going to talk about the difference between dip stripping and hand stripping. Dip stripping is kind of the industrial approach to it. It's fast, it's more efficient, but it actually does quite a bit of damage to antique furniture particularly, and really the joinery of even modern furniture. So a good example is an antique chair like this one right here. If you were to dip strip this, what it would mean is to have a big vat of stripper, and you would essentially submerge the chair in it 8 hours or overnight. Every refinisher has a different process for how long. They might also evaluate the finish and how thick it is or what type of finish it is to determine how long they want to submerge it in the dip strip tank. So when they do that, it's kind of like dunking a piece of furniture in water. Stripper is liquid, and so it goes everywhere. It contacts 100% of the chair, inside joints everywhere. And the process that happens then is that it penetrates deeper into the wood because of the amount of time and the quantity of stripper that's there. And it can actually bleach out some of the natural vibrancy of the wood, some of the colors. And it also goes into all the joints and starts to break up the glue on there. Now, a lot of times when we're refinishing, we are regluing joints anyway, but the dip stripping process actually tricks you because it goes into the joints. The wetness of the stripper causes the joints to swell, and so they'll be tight right after dip stripping, and it won't look like it needs re-glued. So that fools a lot of refinishers who dip strip. They'll finish the finishing process, they'll send it back to the customer, and then a couple months later, as the piece dries out, the swelling of the joints will go down, and all of a sudden the glue is dissolved, and the chair will fall apart, or the piece of furniture will fall apart. That process happens anywhere, on any piece of furniture, and it's particularly bad on veneered pieces of furniture. So veneer is not a bad thing. It's been going on for a couple hundred years. It allows us to have beautiful wood grain on pieces of furniture that are also affordable. So they started doing that in the mid to late 1800s, some pieces even earlier than that. So you have still a solid wood, good quality piece of furniture, but made with the beauty of the mahogany or walnut grain. But the side effects of dip stripping on veneered pieces is that the stripper goes under the layer of veneer, just as it does with the joints of a chair, for example, and it will lift all the veneer up, and all of a sudden this nice 100-year-old sheet of veneer that was, before you dip strip it, nicely glued down, it's now lifting and bubbling in such a way that you might not be able to save it, and you'd have to re-veneer that surface with a modern piece of veneer, which is not as good a quality and usually not as beautiful. Now, to contrast that hand stripping, we essentially put the surface horizontal, and we apply stripper only where we need it. So we would have a little bucket of stripper. We would brush it on with a brush, and it would sit there for whatever it takes. On a thinner finish, it might only be 5 minutes. It might be as much as 20 or 30 minutes for a really tough, especially a modern finish like a polyurethane or something like that, but not nearly as long. And we don't let it kind of cake up and run into the joints. Now, we'll put it kind of superficially on the joint, but it gets taken off quickly enough where it doesn't really go into the glue joint itself. It also will not penetrate as deeply into the wood itself, and so we can sand through that layer, and it's not as bleached and has a better vibrancy when it's finished up. But you can see that hand stripping takes a lot longer. We have to position the pieces in a way where the stripper doesn't run off of it too much. There are paste strippers for vertical surfaces and so forth, but it's a slower process, kind of step by step. Not the kind of thing where you can just drop a piece in a vat of stripper and then forget about it for several hours or even overnight. So those are really the major differences. We strongly believe in hand stripping. It's something that we've decided is a core value of ours, essentially, because it's just the best way to treat antique pieces, and it makes a big difference in the longevity and the quality of the outcome. We're dealing with people's heirlooms. We're dealing with antique furniture that has good quality, and the brand that we're building is one of longevity and the best quality result that we can. And also, we just have a sort of respect for good quality furniture, antique furniture, and we don't want to abuse that kind of furniture for the sake of efficiency. And so a lot of guys will just drop the piece in a vat of stripper because it saves time, it saves money, and then they'll pluck it back out, sand it down, and send it out the door. For us, that's not really the result that we're looking for. We're looking for, how is this piece going to last 5 more generations? How is it, how would a craftsman 100 years ago have treated this piece? If they built this piece, how can we replicate the techniques that they would have used and restore it in the same kind of vein of restoration?